Hello, everyone. Welcome to this information session. In this information session, we're going to be talking about the Illinois Juvenile Justice Commission's Youth Advisory Board. And I just want to give a caveat that we're recording this on a Friday morning. So bear with us if we make any mistakes, just kind of letting you guys know. But we're happy that you're here. We're happy that you have tuned in. And we're just excited to share this information and this opportunity for young people to be involved in the second cohort of this Illinois Juvenile Justice Commission's Youth Advisory Board. So introductions, my name is Joshua Brooks. I am the Restorative Justice Hubs Coordinator here in the city of Chicago through Adler University's Institute on Public Safety and Social Justice.
And I'm Kaylin Davis. I chair the Youth Engagement Committee for the Illinois Juvenile Justice Commission.
So, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kaylin.
No, you're fine. So before we start talking about the YAB sort of more in detail, let's just go through what the commission is broadly. So the Illinois Juvenile Justice Commission was established in 2018 through a federal mandate, and we are a state advisory group, nonpartisan, non-political, that reports to three bodies. So the governor, the Illinois General Assembly, and the Illinois Department of Human Services, or IJJC. And the commission has four main goals. The first one is to ensure that we, as a state, are in compliance with the requirements of the Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Act, so that we can make sure that we stay funded and that we have an application of humane practices for our young people. The second is to make sure that our young people do not enter the juvenile justice system unnecessarily, especially for things that could be handled outside of criminal litigation, like family issues, education, substitutions, and mental health concerns. And then for those young people who do end up in the juvenile justice system, making sure that we're, as a state, providing developmentally appropriate individualized supports, because we want to make sure that those young people have positive outcomes when they return to community in order to enhance our state and community safety. So we approach our work in sort of five buckets, that compliance monitoring being our biggest priority, and making sure that we as a state are in compliance with state and federal statutes. We also provide statewide funding for our cohort of grantees. As I mentioned, we are a nonpartisan, non-political state advisory group that does not lobby for legislation, but does conduct policy analysis. And we also provide training and technical assistance to our robust network of partners and collaborators. So another wrinkle of our work is the OJJDP, which was established in 1974 to prevent juvenile delinquency and then improve outcomes for young people that enter the system. So they provide both supports for state and localities to implement effective programmings for young people. They also sponsor research locally and nationally, and they award state grants to support local programming for our youth. So the IJJC is organized in this top-down structure. So at the top, you have the commissioners, everyone that does the work of our commission, and it is governed by the executive committee, which is composed of the chairs of our four standing committees and our executive director. So our four standing committees are planning and grants, racial justice and equity, compliance, and youth engagement. And we have ad hoc committees as well, depending on the needs of the commission. But the planning and grants committee, from left to right, planning and grants supports the commission's work in developing our grant proposals and making sure that we have adequate funding recommendations for grant renewals. The Racial Justice and Equity Committee works to address the disproportionate overrepresentation of Black and Brown young people in the state's juvenile justice system, as well as working on some data collection efforts. The Compliance Committee, I think, drives our work and really makes sure that our state and localities are in full compliance with jail removal and sight sound separation. And then the work that we lead, or that I lead on the Youth Engagement Committee in partnership with Joshua, is to make sure that young people really have a seat at the table. So we spearhead the commission's involvement with young people in all of our work.
Thank you, Kaylin. That was a really good breakdown of the Juvenile Justice Commission and the Juvenile Justice Delinquency and Prevention Act. I know, y'all, it's a lot, but This is the reason why we're doing this, so that you can learn more about what's going on in juvenile justice in the state of Illinois. So let me explain to y'all what is Adler University's Institute on Public Safety and Social Justice. So the purpose of the Institute is to, I'm sorry, see, oh, told you, all right.
Friday morning.
Yeah, the purpose of the Institute of IPSSJ, Institute of Public Safety and Social Justice, is to meet public safety challenges with socially just solutions. We work with community groups, peer institutions. We work with systems and partners to address public safety challenges. And the way we view public safety is a little bit different. Rather than rely completely on safety strategies that isolate and confine people within our communities, we look to develop transformational alternatives that restore people, heal communities, and families to their optimal functionality. So here's where we'll talk about why justice, or here's where we'll talk about justice for youth by youth. And this is what the Illinois Juvenile Justice Commission's Youth Advisory Board is all about. So why are we doing this now? The Youth Advisory Board had a previous cohort that started in 2021 and just ended this year. And we're looking to onboard at least 10 young people throughout the state of Illinois, so that they could be brought to the table, as Kaylin was mentioning earlier, because for so long, there have been so many decisions that were made for youth, but not by youth. And we believe by creating a space that empowers youth to be at the table, that this will drive policy and influence how juvenile justice is being done in the state of Illinois. And hence, this is why the Youth Advisory Board was created. So the goal is to increase involvement of youth and young people across Illinois who are impacted by the juvenile justice system, who are also between the ages of 18 and 24, so that they can learn, lead, and vocalize and elicit change in their communities and the broader juvenile justice system. So how are we going to do this? Well, we're going to continue the work of the Youth Advisory Board by engaging in the bi-monthly community learning sessions with topics that include restorative justice, juvenile justice, civic engagement and public policy, systems change, social justice, and community engagement. And community organizing. So we will, the goal is to empower young people, and young people will be empowered to identify and execute their own project to spark change in the juvenile justice system. Now, this project it will be created by youth and decided by youth. Give you an example, the previous Youth Advisory Board engaged in a project where they did a presentation to the Juvenile Officers Association in Illinois and Peoria to advise juvenile officers on how young people should be treated and the expectations of young people to build trust between youth and law enforcement. So one of the good things about the Youth Advisory Board is that restorative justice and restorative practices, principles of restorative justice and restorative practices, are the foundation of the Youth Advisory Board. And youth will also receive a stipend for participation.
So if you're interested in signing up and being a member of this cohort for the Youth Advisory Board, you can you can't copy and paste, but you can visit that link on the slide on the Illinois Juvenile Justice Commission's website, and it'll take you to all the application materials for the Youth Advisory Board. The deadline to apply to this year's cohort for the YAB is Sunday, November 3rd at 11:59 p.m.
And then our timeline. So right now we're in the process of recruitment and selection, getting applications in, doing interviews. The program will launch in December of this year, and it will go from December of this year to May of next year. And during that process, we'll have monthly community learning sessions and virtual restorative justice gatherings. And this year will conclude in June of 2025 with the collective project, and close for summer break, and then we will resume. We will resume in September of the next year with the same cohort.
So if you have any questions at all, or just want to learn a little bit more about the YAB or the commission, you can reach out to myself as a chair or Joshua as a coordinator for the Youth Advisory Board, and we're happy to schedule additional follow-up conversations or answer any questions.
All right, that concludes our slide and our presentation. Thank you all and have a great day.
Thank you all.